everyone, welcome back to the kitchen and happy Thanksgiving. As we start off our Thanksgiving week, we have a really retro throwback for you. This is a fresh autumn cranberry relish that your grandmother might have made, and today we're going to share with you how to do it. This incorporates all fresh ingredients, nothing is cooked. I can't wait to show you how this all comes together. Okay, I hope you're ready. Today we are going seriously old school with an autumn harvest fresh cranberry relish, and it has all the flavors of the season. This is not a cooked relish. This is like your grandma used to make. It's super fresh, it's crunchy, it's got all of the fruits of the season, and I know you're gonna love it. So what we have here, we're gonna be making this in our food processor today, but your grandmother, like mine, probably ran this through a meat grinder, and that's how you got that fine consistency. Some people don't like this, but I thought since we're doing really retro holiday theme that this really fit the bill. This is definitely something that my nanny would have made. We're gonna start with a 12-ounce bag of fresh cranberries. They have been rinsed and then put in this pan. I have 2 navel oranges that I have just cut into pieces. 2 Honeycrisp apples. I have done the same. These have been cored but not peeled. You can choose to peel yours if you like. Don't peel your oranges though, because that's all part of the experience. I have 3 rather small pears, and it equals about the same amount as the 2 apples, and I did the same. I cut those into cubes. There's some under here under the celery as well. This is 4 medium-sized ribs of celery that I cut the ends off of, and this is how we're going to make our autumn harvest fresh relish. We're going to be using a 3-ounce package of raspberry jello, and you can use raspberry, cherry, strawberry, whatever you prefer. I'm going with raspberry because cranberry and raspberry go together quite well. I have a 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. You can cut back on that if you like. It's really a personal preference. If you like yours a bit sweeter, go ahead and add up to 2 cups of sugar. It will work. You can also use brown sugar in here if you prefer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm not going to put all of this in the food processor at one time. I'm going to try and do each thing separately, and then we're going to put them in a bowl and stir them together with the jello powder and the sugar. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with my apples, give it a couple of pulses, and if something else gets in there with it, I'm not gonna cry. I'm gonna pulse this just a couple of times. You don't want to puree this. You want it to have lots of texture. That's about all I'm gonna do. Now, depending on your food processor, this is about the texture that we want. You want it chopped a little bit fine, but not so fine that it turns into mush. So I'm gonna do that for all of our ingredients, and each time I do, I'm going to just add it to this bowl. So when I'm all ready, I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, all of our components have been run through the food processor. Now, I processed the apples and the pears less than I processed the oranges, the celery, and the cranberry. Because these, the orange you want to be processed pretty fine. The celery, you don't want someone getting a giant thing of celery because maybe they don't like it. But the celery here is optional. I'm adding it because I feel like it belongs here, and this is a very traditional ingredient in a fresh cranberry relish. And then the cranberries, you don't want somebody getting like a giant unprocessed cranberry. It's very bitter. And in the end, once we get all of these ingredients mixed together with the sweetener, then it's gonna be fantastic. So, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna mess up my pretty arrangement, and we're just gonna give this a real big stir. And you don't need to worry, the cranberries have a very high acid content, as does the oranges. So that's going to prevent your pears and your apples from turning brown. And anyway, once we get the jello powder in here, it's all going to turn red anyhow. Go ahead and add your sugar, and then we'll add our jello powder and stir extremely well. As this sits in the refrigerator, some of the juices are going to come out of the fruit. It's going to mix with the jello powder And this is gonna help to not just flavor everything, it's gonna help this to kind of set up and give it some body so it's not so loose. It's not obviously going to be like a jellied cranberry sauce, but this is definitely a fun alternative. If you have done cranberry sauce 6 ways to Sunday, maybe you haven't tried this kind, maybe you remember this from when you were a kid, and maybe it might be fun to share it with your family now. I'm gonna go put this in a container and I'll be right back. There you go. There's our autumn fresh cranberry relish, all the fruits of the season, and you can see the juices are coming out of that. Now, we've not refrigerated this, but we wanted to finish up the video for you. So what you'll want to do is mix this up really well, stick it in a airtight container in the refrigerator. If you make it today or tomorrow, it'll be perfectly ready to go on Thursday when you serve your Thanksgiving meal or whenever that happens to be. I had Rick taste this. Now, I have to say, when I asked him if he wanted to taste it off camera, he said, yeah, okay. He is not a huge cranberry fan. But tell him what you thought.
Tastes better than I thought it would.
It's like a fresh fruit salad. It has a real brightness to it. It has a little sweetness. It has all of those flavors that are going to hit every part of your palate. It has sweet, it has bitter, it has tangy, and it's crunchy and it's soft in some places. So it has all of those things that are going to cleanse your palate when you're eating that rich meal with all the gravy and the potatoes and the rich meats and all of that. But this is super delicious, and Grandma kind of knew what she was doing. So that's how you make a fresh autumn cranberry relish with all the fruits of the season. I hope that you give it a try sometime soon, and I hope that you love it. And until next time, happy Thanksgiving.